I assume you've already signed up for a free account in Autodesk website as a student, downloaded AutoCAD software, installed it, and this dialog comes up when you start the AutoCAD software. You can create a new drawing by clicking this button at the upper left hand corner. Let's click it. AutoCAD asks for a template. There are standard templates provided, but professionally you should create your own template where you can specify customized paper layouts, line types, etc. But it's okay at this point to select the default template. Click OK. Okay, let's start with basic commands. You can simply click the corresponding button in the upper side of the screen, which is called the ribbon. Here there are many tabs covering different aspects of AutoCAD. And also you can give comments to AutoCAD by using keyboard entered textual input. For instance, to create a line, you may simply enter line, which appears near the cursor, and press enter or spacebar. Then you can specify the first point. As you see, AutoCAD warns you, not warns, but specify instructions as you go along a command. Let's click any point, and when you specify the second point, it creates the line segment, but it still waits for a third or more points. This means you may create new lines starting with the second point of the previous line segment, but you may simply end the command by a spacebar or enter. Now the AutoCAD created a database entry for the entity you just created, including its starting point and end point. Now, before continuing with the other drawing functions, let's cover some basic view functions first. For example, without moving the line segment itself in the space it has been defined in, you can simply pan the view using by clicking the middle mouse button, which is generally this scrolling wheel. You keep it pressed and drag the mouse in order to move the view. And also you may scroll the wheel in order to zoom in and zoom out. Okay. And what else? Let me give you a suggestion that may make things easier later. This is the comment this is the line where the comments appear. When you click it, when you right click it, this space, there are right click menu items. We should click options, and in this dialog you should probably go to user preferences tab, click the right click customization and turn on time sensitive right click. This is a very versatile setting. I'll show you how this works. Just click apply and close, click OK. When the right click is time sensitive, you may quickly click the right mouse button in order to confirm the input instead of pressing spacebar or enter. Or if you press the right click, right mouse button a little long, then the right click menu appears. So you can use with those both intents with the same button. Anyway, and let's continue with the other drawing tools, drawing functions. The second basic drawing tool is circle. You may simply create circles like this. You may specify the radius near the cursor. Let's enter, for example, 3. Press enter. Now you have a circle with a radius of 3 units. And these two are the very most important elements of your drawings, because in shipbuilding, the CNC cutting machines can recognize only these two geometric entities, either line segments or segments from a circle, which are called arcs. So you can even create an arc, but you may trim a circle in order to create an arc as well. And also, you should provide them as a continuous curve connecting those line segments with arcs, etc., or with other line segments. And they have a name called polyline. So eventually, you need to create the shapes in order for them to be used as a for production. You need to either create as a polyline, or you need to convert them, those segments, to a polyline. So polyline means, with its default settings, you can specify many line segments sequentially. Let's right click briefly and end the command. So as you see, when I hand over the entity or click it, the whole sequence of those line segments can be selected at once because they are connected. But if we were to create individual line segments sequentially and end the command, you see they are actually separate entities. And one more important function. So, for example, let me first delete some of these items. In order to delete any item, you should select it first. You can click it. Okay, if you want to select an item, you should drag the left mouse, click the left mouse button and drag your mouse. But in the default setting, it creates something like a lasso selection, which creates a irregular curve boundary. But maybe we should turn that off. Let's go into the options menu again. Right click here, click options. Under selection, allow press and drag for lasso. Let's disable this. Click OK. Okay, now we can, as usual, select any entity by dragging and dropping using your left mouse button. But here you should make a distinction between two features. You can either select dragging from left to right or right to left. They have different outcomes. For the from left to right, the object should completely be inside this rectangular selection. So for example, in this case, there are only two line segments inside the box, so only they will be selected. The partially selected line segment will not be selected. Let's try it. You see. But if you drag from right to left, it creates a green box, and even we haven't completely outlined all three line segments completely. When I lift the mouse button, you see they're all selected. This is the behavior of the dragging from right to left. Okay, let's clear some of the items we've created. You can select them and click the delete button. Okay, now let's create a polyline by using first the polyline function. We generally need to deal with closed polylines, which means the curve should be closed by given a close comment at the end. So here you cannot create a closed polyline by just finishing at the first point. You shouldn't click the first point at this point. But instead, you should give close parameter. So here below in the command line, you can specify the next point, or you may enter those parameters by using keyboard, or you can click them. I will just click the close parameter here. You see, the comment finishes and it creates a closed loop. This is the first option to create a polyline. But more frequently than this way, in shipbuilding, we sometimes use a more practical way for more complex objects. So let me create an irregular shape like this. I've created many line segments. And also, please remember, we use some holes around plates, especially in the corners, in order to create continuous welds. So for example, here we may have a circular hole like this. So the hole will go at this point like this. So you need to cover all the line segments, and at the corner you should create an arc like this. Let me create other holes like that. I'm just repeating the command using the right click. By the way, Autocad conveniently snaps your cursor to endpoints of entities or midpoints if you wish. And it shows that using a rectangular green shape like this. So let's create the other circle. At this point, we may simply create the object with holes by using boundary function. Let's call it boundary. So this dialog comes up, you should click the pick points button. Click anywhere inside this object, so it immediately recognizes the outline of this shape. Press enter. As you see, a polyline with all those holes, those features, has been created with a simple step. So you may wish to separate it with the original curves by moving it outside or elsewhere. So after selecting this curve, just enter move. By the way, you don't need to write the command completely. You may preview the upcoming closest command name below. So therefore, you may simply skip the remaining letters by just clicking the spacebar. Just click anywhere and move it elsewhere. By the way, one more operation you are going to need in the productional usage of Autocad. It's the rotation of the object. So we've seen the moving of entity, and also we can rotate this closed curve with the rotate function. You should select the object. You may select with a frame, or you can simply click the object and I right click. It asks for the base point, the point that it will rotate around. Just clicking it, so you see you can rotate the object.